hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fine, thanks. So I was trying to. I've never heard of this particular condition before,
Mhm.
but I've known the mother for a while. The daughter, which would be late high school, early college age,
Hey,
apparently has an autoimmune condition called severe aplastic anemia. So
okay.
it was diagnosed like in 19, right?
Mhm.
So she's had some treatments, including 4 surgeries, both lungs, both sinuses, and then a bone marrow transplant in 2020, and had a round of chemo and radiation prior to that point. Now the issue is the bone marrow is almost fully recovered, but her immune system is catching up because it was pretty much wiped out.
Right.
So she's been real open to infections, and her stomach has been sensitive. So she's been having recurring lung and sinus infections since she went back to school in 2022. So kind of what they're interested in is kind of how to strengthen her gut, so to speak, and strengthen the breathing and the lungs and that kind of thing. It's in the mother said it's not cancer, but it behaves kind of like cancer.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so what's happened is when she's gone back to school, then obviously she gets exposed to everything that's going around, and it sounds to me kind of like, well, we just really don't have a lot in us to fight, and of course, I'm gonna have to have some guidance on. It almost looks like this breathe easy might be a thing for her, but I'm gonna have to know.
That could be like, how's her digestion?
Apparently, it's an issue because she's had
Yeah. Yeah. So she's had what?
stomach issues, gut issues.
Stomach issues.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would do a couple of things. Like I would treat the stress in the digestive tract, basically like we would refer to this as like a stress plagued digestive tract. And which means that usually the diaphragm is tight. Usually there's a lot of lymphatic stagnation in the gut, and then there's poor autonomic function, specifically in the parasympathetic activity, which is your rest and repair. So all of these are just different like emanations of like a stress plagued digestive tract. So doing something like tarragon or rosemary verbena, the ANS support for the gut could be helpful. I kind of like almost going just tarragon. She could do it topically. She could also do a little bit internally. She could inhale it. All of this will ease the stress in the digestive tract, and it will fortify the parasympathetic activity of the autonomic nervous system. So it will start to kind of balance some of that out. So a lot of times when you see a lot of excessive infection and inflammation in the sinuses, it's almost always some form of stress that's coming from the solar plexus or the gut. And the stress doesn't always mean emotional stress. A lot of times it can be physical stress, but it's just a bunch of excess red prana like stuck up in the nose. A lot of times it's dirty. So I suspect that the lung issue is also diaphragm related, and probably a lot of lymphatic issues, just overall. And keep in mind that lymphatic issues a lot of times will start with a disruption in that autonomic nervous system. And so you kind of want to treat both at the same time, because if you just treat the immune system and lymphatic function, it will like usually improve a bit, but the nervous system will kind of bring it back to that place. You almost need to like really balance out that part of the nervous system so that the immune system starts functioning a little bit more properly. And there'll probably have to be a bunch of adjustments, but right off the bat I would treat that.
So you would treat it with a tarragon?
I would
both-
treat the gut with the tarragon, and you can do, like, anytime you have like an autoimmune issue, and here it's a very serious autoimmune issue, the thymus is always a thing that needs substantial treatment. And do we know, did this person have like a lot of traumas or a lot of like situations where feelings got hurt a lot over a long period of time, or
Not that
something?
we know of beforehand.
Okay,
You know,
not that we know of.
And maybe on some trauma and moved from India to the US or whatever, but that's been some years ago now.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm not aware.
Yeah, her endocrine system looks also compromised. Like it's very depleted. Okay, so I would do the tarragon for the gut. I would do like 3 wise men, or the mixing of frankincense and myrrh to
Yes.
jumpstart. And that's going to have multiple benefits. For one, it's going to jumpstart endocrine function. 2, it's going to stimulate cerebral spinal fluid circulation. It's going to reduce inflammation. And it's also has an impact on lymphatic function. So it's going to kind of hit all of those things pretty easily.
And it is just a combination of different frankincense and myrrhs, correct?
Yeah, there's nothing else in it.
She runs all this by the.
Yeah. Frankincenses and
Runs it all
myrrhs.
by the oncologist, yeah.
Yeah. Frankincenses and myrrhs. That's it.
And so you would do that like 1 drop a day, once or twice?
Oh, I'd probably do 3 or 4, at least once a day at first, just to make sure she can tolerate it. Maybe start with 2 just to see if she can tolerate it, and then bump up to like 4.
Okay,
But like when we have people who have serious endocrine issues, I mean, we jump them up to like 8, 8 drops a day. And but that her body's so sensitive, I would just gently walk into it. Like I wouldn't do big quick. I'd go really super slow.
Right.
And then the thymus.
Can't remember what we used for treating that brain on fire one, but it had some thymus action. I don't remember which one it was. I can't remember the medical name. The one that brain on fire was what they call it commonly. The young boy in.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of times we can use Moroccan thyme. We can maybe start with that, but we might need to move up to Melissa for that. But let's get the other things moving first. Let's get her on some tarragon and maybe that 3 wise men and
a tarragon, like 1-2 drops a day.
yeah, like that. You could even probably at first, just because the body's going to be sensitive, have her inhale it, and then put like 3 or 4 drops in some lotion or massage oil and just rub it on her gut for like maybe a week.
Okay.
Yeah, like it will feel very soothing, and it will start to unwind it, and she can ease into treatment like that. Because like the thing is that we always have to keep in mind, or at least I try to keep in mind, because a lot of times, like when I would be seeing patients, I'd want to do the most that I could in a session for them, or try to get them back to health as quickly as possible. Here you have somebody who's been through so much, they're kind of frail and fragile a little bit. Even though they might be out doing things, their body can't take a punch like some other people. And so I would just slowly walk her into some of this so that her body can make a shift and adjustment. Because even when you're trying to heal something like this, as weird as it sounds, you're dealing with the stress response, the defense mechanisms will kick in because you're just making a shift. The body won't want to shift out of the state that it's in. So in a case like this, slower is actually a little bit better. rather than trying to do a whole bunch really quick. It's just like you do a little bit and then you back up, and then you do a little bit and you back up, and then after a while you go, oh, they're kind of doing okay with it, and you just kind of keep easing it in, because their body can go into crisis too quickly, and it's almost like the healing the body has to get adjusted to, because I mean, it sounds like she's just had a crazy experience going through all this stuff. If she's had surgeries and bone marrow transplants and
like 4 years, so it's a long.
Man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. I know some of the autoimmune stuff they treat with like chemo and stuff like that. The really severe cases.
So she's had one each of the chemo and radiation, but that was just before the transplant, I guess, a bone marrow transplant, which apparently is over and done and has done well.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Good. As she gets better, there's a treatment protocol that I can give you, but like you kind of got to ease her into some of this for a little while.
So you want to start now with the drops and everything?
Yeah.
The 3 wise men, and then just inhaling on the tarragon and rubbing some on the gut.
And maybe just do a healing on like the thymus. Like clean it and then energize it a little bit with delicate regeneration. Greenish yellow, greenish violet. Yeah, just a little bit, not too much. Just keep easing it in, because you're treating a gland, but you're also treating a gland that's being guided by the nervous system. And so you're wanting to re-educate the nervous system as it impacts the gland, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the focus isn't the gland itself, it's the nerves that are affecting the gland. That's probably a better way of saying it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Keep me posted on that. I'm glad to talk that through, text us or whatever, but those complicated situations take a lot of adjustment. Like, you treat and adjust.
Yeah. A movement and a rest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, and your wife's doing good? Like, you guys bounced back from your trip and all that?
Yeah, all good.
Good.
I'll have a little have some wisdom teeth out tomorrow. So
oh, nice.
So I'm not sure I'll be very wise next week, but I'm thank you for asking. Yeah,
You're so welcome.
we're
and we'll do the minister thing next week. We won't do it this week.